Neat stuff, neat stuff.
Hi there, Scary Gary. Glad you guys came back for another week. Well, it is cold in Texas. It's like 40 degrees something this morning, so we are long sleeves and black hats. But hey, imagine you wish you had our weather down here. Well, today we're going to talk about satellite TV in an RV. Now, I've said it many times in the past. Mary Lou and I are TV people. That's why we kind of bought our unit. That's why I'm sitting right across from a 40-inch, I believe it is, or it's a pretty good sized TV. And I know when you want to go out and see the great places, there is not great TV. There's just not TV stations around there. So we have tried working with the Roku, tried working with the antenna. I've tried boosters before. I have tried a bigger antenna that I got from Amazon on a staff before, and it gets little improvements, but it doesn't really just nail it down. So I decided, let's try to do some satellite TV. And there's many forms of satellites that you can get for RVs. I got a King Tailgater, and I paid right around $250 for it a couple years back. And it threw in a free Wally, which is the actual little receiver, which they cost about $50 then. Now they cost about $90 for the Wally, and the Tailgater cost about $380 at Camping World. That is just for a single hookup one. If you get a double hookup, that's about another $50 on top of the King. Now, there are other satellite systems which they run anywhere from $500 up to like $2,500. The $2,500 ones are typically the ones that go on the Class A's, or a unit that you can actually go down the road and watch TV at the same time. What you have to do with our little Tailgater is you have to set it up. It's got to be facing a southern sky, and I use an app that shows me where the satellites are, so I can kind of judge where to put it. Sometimes I have to pull it away from the RV. The best place that I've found is to put it on top of the RV. And I'm a little cautious, so I always lock it down. They don't recommend you setting them straight on the ground because ants love electronics and they typically get inside it. So they recommend them setting up on a tripod or a table or something. Like, again, I say sometimes I put it on top of the trailer. Sometimes I will put it on the back of the truck, but almost always I will lock it off with a bicycle lock or a chain or something so that it doesn't grow legs. The tripods for them, they run about 120 bucks. So honestly, I just put it on a little aluminum folding table that I got from Academy, a sporting goods store down here in the Houston area. I think I paid like 18 bucks for that little table a long time ago that we used when we were camping, tent camping with the grandson, Boy Scout camping, things like this. But it beats the heck out of $120. The other accessory I got with it was a bag, which it carries the satellite in, you put the receiver in, keeps it all kind of from bouncing around, keeps a good way to store it. Right now, the bag at Camping World is about $70. I paid $44 on Amazon, again, a couple years ago. So unfortunately, everything is going up. You have to have a satellite provider. We went with Dish. And the main reason we went with Dish was it was high definition. And also, they have a pay-as-you-go program. We basically find a spot where we definitely don't have any kind of reception or very little reception. There's things we want to see, and we will activate the system. Let's say I activate it on the 15th of the month. It's good till the 15th of the following month. And they will send you a notice and a bill saying, would you want to play this again? But, and we may not pay it. if we're in places where we get fairly good reception. And then here comes the 31st and bam, we don't have reception again. Pay it again, and guess what? Now it's good for the 31st of the next month. So it's kind of like you can let it lapse, and you can start it up anytime. As you move place to place, you are going to have to reset your location, which there's kind of a two-step operation with this, because and I should really say, you've got different programs. We just use the Flex program, which runs around $55. And then I do the local TV stations, because I kind of like to hear where the news is there, the weather is there, and everything. And that's like an extra $10, $15. So when it's said and done, I'm around $60 to $69. And a lot depends on what kind of taxes there is, because they have to charge you taxes of where you are at. So one time we activated and our bill is $69. Another time we activated and our bill is $64. I mean, it does fluctuate about $5 depending on where you're at in the world. But the first thing, like I say, we have to do is when you're setting the thing up, when we're plugging the satellite in and it tries to find the satellites and everything, you're going to look at the screen and it's going to say, where are you at? And you basically, here I say I'm in Eastern Texas. And it goes through and it scans the satellites and things like this. But to get the local stations, then there's a couple ways that I've been doing it, but one way is you actually can go in to the Dish app, and you basically can say reset, go to Dish Outdoors, and you can say reset my location, and it will read the location where you're at with GPS. And you bring up a screen on your TV, and when it's initializing, and it tells you to give the ID code, and I put that number in there, then bam, it resets it to those stations that are there. Two things that I'd like to talk specifically about is, the first one is we have a TV here in our living room, in our kind of the main area of the camper, and then we have one in the bedroom, because we do like to watch TV as we're in the bedroom too. And it would be great if I could watch one thing and Mary Lou can watch the others, if in different spots. But with the satellite, what we were told from the very beginning is you can watch different things, but you really need to have the dual connector. I hit their technical support up and says, well, hey, I've got a Key TV system, which is the Keystone TV system, which comes in one spot in the unit and it makes the split. So I actually have a satellite and a cable TV cord in the bedroom, and I got a satellite and a cable TV cord behind the TV. First thing, they said, well, that probably will work. So what did I do? I bought a second receiver, caught it on sale. I think I got it for a little less than $50. We went to Natchitoches a couple years ago. I tried to set it up and I couldn't get it to work. I mean, it just, it would knock the one off, and then we went through customer service, and it was kind of a rainy weather, and we were staying in a campground that had quite a few trees. I couldn't get it where I had completely open skies. So I kind of jumped it up to that. Next camp out, which was unfortunately, that was late in the year, and then we're talking the first of the following year, the first quarter, or maybe the end of the first quarter, the beginning of the second quarter, and we started to set it up again. And as I was talking to them, they basically says, hey, you can't do that. It won't work. It takes the signal off the one, it takes the signal off the other. Because my whole idea was, well, they told me from the beginning, we'd have to be watching the same satellite, but there's different channels within each satellite. Specifically, when I am getting the Flex Pack plus the locals, I'm usually hooked on 3 satellites, is what I'm hooked on. So if I'm on one satellite and it's got TBS, it's got the History Channel, it's got this, whatever, Mary Lou might be able to watch watch the Hallmark Channel. And as long as the History Channel's on that same satellite, my plan was to watch that in the other room. Unfortunately, it didn't work. So as I was talking to people and watching other YouTube videos, you can get an HDMI splitter and come off the back of the receiver and split it and then run an HDMI cable to the other TV. And now we can watch TV in the bedroom and in here, but guess what? We are going to be watching the same station. I set the Wally receiver up behind the TV in the kind of the storage area behind the TV, and was a little concerned about would it read or not, and a little concerned how I was going to do it. And actually I got off Amazon a nice little connecting piece that puts it right on the wall. It velcros it on the wall, so everything is right there at the edge. There's a little slot on the side of the TV where I can kind of halfway see where the receiver is, but I was kind of concerned about the remote control. Is it going to be able to see it or not, and things like this. But the remote control, I can take it in the bedroom and use the remote control, and it works. I can change anything in there, but whenever I change it in there, it's going to change in here. One thing that I need to talk about is I kind of planned to get this satellite TV because I knew there was going to be on our trip to Alaska, there was going to be a lot of areas where there was no TV at all. And that was a correct assumption. And I did talk to some people, and they said, yeah, you use the TV in Alaska, it's no big deal. The satellites work up there. As I got across the border, we were in Cochrane, which was just outside of Calgary, and the satellite didn't work. Now, there were stations in Cochrane, but we kind of wanted to see some of the stuff on the States TV and not Canadian TV. There's a little bit of difference between the two. I called technical support at Dish, and unfortunately they told me that nope, they do not have a contract with Canada. Your system probably might work when you get into Alaska because we do have a contract up there. But in Canada, the satellite systems that they use up there is Bell TV and Shaw Direct. I didn't check into seeing if I could set it up or not or whatever. We just, made it through. But I don't know if you're really supposed to do this or not, but when we were really close to the border and we would give an address on the other side of where we supposedly were at, it worked really well close to the border. But if you get in, like Calgary is, I don't know, maybe 100 miles in, and that was just too far. We couldn't, it's probably a little more than 100 miles, but it wouldn't work there. Now, the next problem is when we got to Alaska. One of the first things I noticed in Alaska was all the satellites, they were pointing like, it almost looked like they were pointing down at the ground. And as I looked at my app, typically down in Texas, the arc of the satellites goes way up high in the sky with about the center of it being straight south. Up in Alaska, they went like this, not too far above the horizon. And unfortunately, in Alaska, you have a lot of mountains around you, and it's in a lot of places. So I could not get the system to really work up in Alaska where we were at. I'm sure if you are on a southern face of one of the mountains that you could get up high and then you could be looking down, there's a good chance you might be able to get it working there, but I couldn't get it to work there. So some of my plans on the satellite system through Canada and through Canada especially, and Alaska, it didn't work the way I planned it to work. So, but it has worked virtually every place else. We just took a camp out last weekend in Central Texas, which had almost no TV reception, and set it up, moved the satellite a little bit over, and got to watch the Astros play an 18-inning game, which they won. So satellites, when camping, at least for us, it's a winner. Well, I hope this has been informative, and I sure hope to see you next time.
If you like the video, give it a thumbs up.
Turn on your post notifications.
Put the comments down below.
Subscribe and you make us happy, right, Maggie? Oh.
Oh my gosh.